Okay, so today we are going to be talking about Indomitable Spirit. Indomitable Spirit is a term that I first learned whenever I was in karate growing up. So in karate, we had a bunch of words that were written on the wall. And one was modesty, courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. Now, we always talked about each one every week, and we always said at the end of class, the instructor would repeat the first word and we would repeat afterwards. And at the very end of class, whenever we get to modesty, courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit, Hiya, and the way that we said it is so accurate as to what it is. I never realized that those words would impact my healing, my change, my growth, the unbecoming, and who I am, who I had to become. Just all of it. I did not realize how much it would affect everything. But through every single thing, every trial, every tribulation, every test, every single dead end, every fall down, every heartbreak, every single piece of it, I had to carry the indomitable spirit. Now, what that really means is that it's the unyielding resilience, the hope, the courage that allows others to persevere against, I love this word, insurmountable odds, against despair or physical limitations. The next part hits pretty hard too. It represents a conscious choice to find meaning and maintain optimism, pushing forward despite fear or inevitable harsh realities. The enduring strength can be built through intentional practice and facing adversity. So, indomitable spirit. I'm going to put up a couple of those. Unyielding. Ooh, that's small. Erase that one. Okay, we're going to go back to the other ones. I thought I could use the little ones. Nope. Unless you guys want to put on some glasses to see. Okay. We'll say. I know how to spell. I totally do. It's a good thing Emma wasn't here. She'd be coming after me. Unyielding resilience. Hope. courage. Like Courage the Cowardly Dog. So those are the tools, and what they are up against is insurmountable odds. Insurmountable odds, despair, and physical limitations. Okay. It is a conscious, double check my spelling on that one. Conscious choice. To find meaning. And maintain optimism. Pushing forward. That's a W, I promise. We're gonna just erase it because, like, let's make it actually look like one. Pushing forward. Despite reality. Okay. Now, let me roll my butt back as I am stuck. Okay. So, here we go. I am not going to sit on this thing this far. Unyielding resilience. Unyielding meaning no matter what. No matter what. Never give in, never surrender. That kind of mentality. When you have that, I don't care how I do it, I don't care when I get it done, it will happen no matter what. That is beyond willpower. When you start looking at the unyielding resilience, that falls more under the law of assumption. When you are unyielding to your resilience, you are saying to the universe that this is going to happen. I don't care. It's going to happen. You have already told the universe, no matter what, this is going to happen. You don't care. It's going to happen. Hope. Hope is one of those things that no matter what, I start crying. Hope is one of those that hope gives people some of the best fuel to push forward no matter what in the toughest of times, because even if you have that little bit of hope, that tiny bit of hope, it can change everything. It can push you through everything. Courage. That is one of the hardest things, because what is that saying about courage? About how it's, I can't remember the saying. If you know it, please write it below. About how Courage is doing it even if you are afraid. Courage is not the lack of fear. It is choosing to do it even though you are afraid. And I know that that's not the word for word quote, but that's the gist of what the quote is. Courage is doing things like me getting up here and making videos, being on, out here, putting myself out here. It's scary, of course, but it's doing it anyways. Same with when we start our our Pluto retrograde. Sorry, Mercury, not that one. When we start our Pluto retrograde, that one's going to bring up a lot of stuff. And, I feel like we all are very good at avoiding confrontation, avoiding our fears, avoiding dealing with people that we don't like, avoid the difficult conversations of like when we're not happy in a relationship and we're afraid to say it because we're afraid to hurt the other person's feelings, but we're gonna let ourselves suffer even though we don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want to break up a family. It's having that courage to do it because it's the right thing. I'm not saying, you're doing it because you want to go out running around cheating on people. No. Or you get caught cheating and we're not going down that road. We're not going down toxic road. I'm talking about, courage in doing the things that are scary because it's the right thing to do. That your life is going to be not better in that moment, but better after the moment. So, you need these things. You need these things right here to be able to go out. That's soft. Or just, yeah. It's been a long day. To go after your insurmountable odds. Insurmountable odds, like David and Goliath kind of crap. When you are the only one standing up against corruption and it's just you. Insurmountable odds. Like I said, David and Goliath. It's having to stand up for what you know is right. Rosa Parks. I mean, we could go down a long list of those people that chose to stand up against tyranny or all of that. Just insurmountable odds. The odds are stacked against you, but that's not stopping you. You need these things to go up against that. You need these things to beat despair. Because, let's be honest, you're going to feel like everything and everyone is against you. You're going to have a lot of people tearing you down, making you feel like you're crazy when you know you're not. It's also about using these as well to fight against the physical limitations, because you're going to fight against being in a place that you don't want to be in. Maybe you're not making enough money. Maybe you're in a very crappy relationship, a very toxic relationship. Maybe you're in a crappy toxic work environment. Maybe you're, living at home with your parents and they are very horrible people. who knows, like there's so many scenarios that we could like say for physical limitations. Maybe you physically can't do anything about it because of the fact that you are stuck in a wheelchair or in a bed or in some kind of situation where you can't actually do anything about it just yet. So many options. But this indomitable spirit, it's an energy. In a way, as how I would like to say it, is it's tapping into the godlike energy. It's tapping into multiple gods, multiple energies, to use their energy to fuel you. It's asking for help from your ancestors. It's asking help from your guides. It's, praying to the angels. It's whatever it may be for you, because everybody has their difference. For me, it's a little bit different. It's that knowing. It's that divine connection that God has got me no matter what. No matter what. I will always make it through every single thing, because I am God and God is with me. And if I am God, if I'm a goddess and I have God within me, nothing can hurt me. Nothing can take me down. I will have many, I'll get knocked down, but I'll get back up again. And I'll start singing too. Yeah. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna take me down, or you're never gonna break me down. One of the two. But it's that kind of like, it's that mentality that every time you get knocked down, you're gonna get right back up. It's indomitable spirit. Think of it in the context of think of it like a fighter. Think of it like someone that is MMA style fighting, or back in the day, whenever we had Muhammad Ali and everything like that, like the fights that they had, if you got knocked down, you were done for. So every time you got knocked down, you had to get back up. You had to keep fighting. You had to keep fighting. That's that kind of spirit. You're in the middle of a fighting ring, and life is hitting you left and right and left and right and left and right. And you got to be able to take those punches, and you got to be able to get back up and be like, okay, let's go. Those hurt, but I'm still standing. It's that kind of mentality. The thing about it, though, is that many people don't understand how much of a choice it is. It is very easy to complain about the things going on in your life. So easy to complain about every little thing that's going wrong. But how much harder is it to make a conscious choice to find meaning and maintain optimism? That finding the silver lining is no joke. I'm an eternal optimist. I will always point out some kind of positive in any kind of situation. I may complain every once in a while, and then I'm like, oh wait, hold on. Sometimes I get sucked in. People don't like being around me because, especially covert narcissists really hate being around me because, they'll complain about something and I'll point out a positive, and it messes with their, oh, poor pity me party, So, it's just funny. But I am always looking for the positive side, because I realize that there are two sides to every coin, and we get to choose which side we're going to look at. So you can constantly look at the negative, or you can choose to find meaning. You can choose to find the silver lining. no matter what you're being, example for me. Okay. Example for me. When I lost custody of my kids, I was so devastated because like my kids were they were my life. They were, it's who I defined myself as, because I was a mother. And when I didn't have that, I didn't know who I was. So I lost a part of myself. I wasn't sure who I was, because I was not a mom anymore. I was not taking care of kids. I was not sacrificing every single thing for my children and all this other stuff. When I lost, and I don't want to say lost custody, because like I gave custody away in a way. Like I didn't like physically like say, here, take my kids, but it was the choices that I was making that had my kids taken from me, because I was making horrible choices and I was around the wrong people. In order to be a parent, you should not be around certain people doing drugs and doing horrible things. And so, I willingly gave my kids up because I chose to be doing the things that I was doing. Now, let's get back on this task of where it's more along the lines of I could have been angry and I could have been pissed off at the world and blamed every single body, and I did for a while. Do not get me wrong. I was angry and I was pissed off and I was complaining to everybody, and I was like, it was everybody else's fault but mine. Everybody's. Until I started working on myself, until I started actually really focusing on myself and my healing and what was wrong with me. Like, why was I doing the things that I was doing? What was holding me back? Why was I acting certain ways without my own, like why was I doing things on autopilot that I could not stop doing? I was constantly making choices that weren't my choices. In order for me to actually sit down and spend that time uninterrupted, where I could be fully focused on myself, I could not be with my kids. I could see them every so often, but I could not be with them, because I needed that time to sit in timeout, spiritual timeout, and think about what I've done and think about who I am and finding myself and really digging deep and doing a lot of work. That's the silver lining. That's my optimism. That was the thing that I finally realized. I found meaning in the not being able to have my kids, because then it later turned out that I was breaking a generational pattern, a generational curse of similar women in my family that had their kids and lost custody of their kids because of the fact that they were still struggling with mental health, and they were still struggling with all of the same issues that I did, being abused at a young age, and not actually healing from it. It was a pattern that has been passed on through so many generations, and it was my turn to do the opposite of what everybody else had done. They fought for their kids and got their kids back and all of that stuff, and I tried. Do not get me wrong. I fought hard. I really fought hard. And I went to court multiple times. I did it all, okay? When really I needed to sit down and become a better person inside and deal with my stuff inside, so that I could be on an energetic level, on the right energetic level, to be a good parent to my children. So, this is why I say that you're going to need these things. You're going to need these 3 things, unyielding resilience, hope, and courage, to come against insurmountable odds, despair, physical limitations. And you're going to have to consciously make a choice to find the meaning in the lesson and what you're learning and what you're going through, and maintain that optimism to push forward through whatever your reality is, whatever it may be. And I'm going to leave it with this, in the fact that if you struggle with optimism, if you struggle with depression, I understand. I have been there. I have struggled with it as well. My own one of my kids struggles with it even more. But they all do have tendencies, and they all have it to some extent. But one thing that I like to do, and I've done multiple times with my son especially, we play a game. Everything I make into is a game, because games are more fun, and when you play a game, you are more likely to get your inner child involved in the game, so that it makes it so that it's more healing. Just a little bit of knowledge dropping on you right there. I make it into a game, and the game is this: you have to think of and say out loud as many things that you are grateful for, and it doesn't matter how silly they are, it doesn't matter how absurd it is. And the best part is to play it with someone else, because then you kind of start, because this is what I mean, is you start playing off one another, and it changes. I mean, they taught us this, to write a gratitude journal and all of that stuff, but when you make it into a game with someone, it's interesting to see the things that they come up with that you didn't ever think of, but you're like, ooh, that's a good one. You're like, I'm going to put that one in my little, list. There were times when I was in some awful situations, and I had to sit there, and even though I was in, the worst feeling place ever, I would sit there and I would spout out, I have a car. My bills are paid. I have a roof over my head. I have food in my closet. I have food in my fridge. I have, I would, and, come up with ones that other people had said back in treatment, people that have been in jail, light switches. If you've ever been in jail, to have a light switch that you can control on your own and a pillow, Lord, those are amazing. Amazing. I'm just saying, if you've ever had to go and stay in jail before, you will know that those 2 things are big. But, it's coming up with things like smell. I can walk. I can see. I can taste food. I can chew on my own. I can go to the bathroom all by myself. These are things you wouldn't think that are really that big, but they are. I can hear the birds singing. I can sing to music. That kind of stuff, when you start actually really appreciating the things you can do and have, it really changes. It changes things. And it can also, once you start citing out all these things that you maintain that optimism, you find all these positive things, it can help you change how you find the meaning in that situation, because you can't find the solution from the same place that you are looking at the problem, no matter what. You have to get out of that headspace before you can actually really see things from a different perspective. So I'm going to leave this here for you guys, because I want you guys to all incorporate and then Indomitable Spirit, okay? Because come this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, with everything going the way that it's going, and the way that I see things that are there, the way that I see things going, things are going to get a bit dicey. And I know it's going to be rough. I know that you know, there are going to be some hard times. But if you can maintain that, I promise you it'll help you get out. It'll help you get out. It's not the only way out. It's not the only end-all be-all, no magic pill. But I swear to you, that kind of mindset will definitely keep pushing you through, will keep getting you through. So, I am going to leave it here. And I don't even know what I wanted to end with. But Indomitable Spirit.